If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hi Photos family. Today we're talking about photo design, and some of this really does fit in with our framework discussion. The design of a photograph is intended to set the exposure of your photograph properly, to allow enough shadow and highlight to draw the attention to your subject. It is also designed to take the focus of your photograph and lead you to your subject, so that your background is not too much more in focus, or if you have an entire focus from foreground to background, that there's going to be some gradation of focus, even if it looks like your foreground and background are in focus, that the sharpest focus is on your subject, usually your subject being in the middle ground between foreground and background. Once you have the ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture, and the composition set, then we go on to understanding the amount of contrast we want to have. If we want the shadows softened some, then perhaps we bump our ISO from 100 to 125, 160. Or we can even move that on up into the 200 or 320 range of our ISO, but we want to be careful not to move our ISO so high for our light source that we cause our photos to look grayed or muddy. The overall design of our photograph is, once we understand the information that our camera will set, or the information we should set for our camera to get the shot that we're looking for, now we know how the contrast ratio is set, now we know how the focus is set, and then we can work towards setting up the design of our photograph so that we have the subject in the most, I want to say obvious, but maybe obvious isn't the best place. We could place our subject in the location of the photograph that is most pleasing to the viewer's eye and the viewer's brain. So the important part is, when you design your photograph, I'm going to use this photograph as an illustration. A lot of beginning photography courses will teach about the rule of thirds. And here's the rule of thirds. If you put over your photograph, whether in camera frame or if you look at printed photographs, you place a hashtag. Or if you look at it this way, it could be a quote-unquote tic-tac-toe or a pound sign. About the lower third, you draw a line across here, and you draw another line from about a third from the top over here, a third from the side, and another third from the side. And those lines on your frame or your printed photograph are going to be generally the areas that you want to have the viewer's eyes up here in the top third. If you're taking a portrait and it's more of a mid-chest up to the top of their head, then maybe you place their eyes in the top third and you have something of just below their shoulders here on the lower third. The point is that you want the photo to look pleasing, that you're not pushing one side, you're not pushing from the top, you're not cutting too much off from the bottom. And with that design, then you're looking at the aesthetic placement, the design of your photograph, and how you have composed that to give enough space for the imagination of your viewer, or the eye, as a lot of people suggest the thought process of the viewer, to be pleased and not wonder why something was cut off over here, or why the photo is cropped in so far. To be able to give enough space in the photograph for the natural look of the viewer, but also to present the subject in the proper light. That is photo design, and that's really what design is all about. And the purpose of photography is presenting your subject fully, or for that, as we talked about in the hero's journey, wherever the subject is being placed in their story, you want that thought process, where they have come from, where they are now, to be fully told. You want to have that purpose in mind, and that's going to be the place that they're set on their hero's journey. That hero has come through, I'm going to call it a crucible instead of the abyss. They have had something very hard in a task that they set before themselves, and they achieved it. So they've come out through that crucible, and they have now been through a lot of trials and difficulties and being asked a lot of to do that study and that resource, writing papers and everything else that they have been taught and learned. Now they've come out the other side, and you get to show the transformation of who they were basically before in one image, but now that they've achieved something else, you get to show what they have achieved, and that's where they are in their hero's journey. Now you get to show what they are capable of. And that is the beauty of the hero's journey, and being able to fit a photograph into the hero's journey thought process for that third and final place of our framework. The framework itself in the composition side, I'm sorry, not the composition, but the design, the styling, getting to sketch out what you're thinking about. That process allows you the opportunity to set up, whether you're placing the subject's face and eyes on the right third or in the middle at the top third. That way you're giving some head space, but not too much. You're allowing enough view of their shoulders, but you're capturing everything that you need to be able to show that their facial expression is communicating. I have set a hard task in front of myself and I accomplished it. I know what I am capable of as far as education or whatever the purpose may be for the photograph. Now that they have that confidence in themselves, then they can go out and achieve the next step, pushing themselves one step further. Just as we're doing here and causing ourselves to go one step further to level up our skills and our abilities. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up or comment down below what has been brought out to you, what you have learned, or whatever else that you want to share with us. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe if you're not yet part of our family. We would love to add you to our family. God bless.